What is going on, guys? We are back playing some more Surviving with IndustrialCraft 2. Now today, guys, we're going to be messing around with nuclear reactors yet again. I know we've been covering them a lot recently, but that's because I want to make sure that you guys know all the possible ways that you can use them. So we've covered liquid-cooled nuclear reactors, we've covered basic nuclear reactors, and we just covered a nuclear reactor that you can use to pretty effectively generate plutonium. Now, it's only logical that we talk about Mox-fueled nuclear reactors. So Mox Fuel is pretty interesting. It uses uranium and plutonium. It's kind of a mix, and it makes pretty much a fuel rod that is going to increase in effectiveness, not only based on the setup of the system, but also based on the internal heat of the nuclear reactor. So there's a lot of stuff you guys got to learn about this, because this one is pretty darn dangerous, because to get it more effective, you're putting your base at greater risk of blowing up. So there's a lot of stuff to craft today. I'm going to start out telling you guys that it might not be a ton of items, but they are really expensive to start out with. So I would only recommend this as being a really late game item. I've been on here for a while now, collecting mainly iron and diamonds. I scanned diamonds downstairs, and I started actually creating them with UU matter because I needed so many of them, and unfortunately they're actually kind of expensive. I stopped it, and I think I have enough to make one more diamond left in here, but they are kind of expensive. They take 44.41 millibuckets, so about 1/3 a piece of iridium. But I didn't really feel like going mining, so I had the miner work, and then I had that make diamonds for me, because we're going to need a lot of them. But these are the resources that we're going to be using today. Lots and lots of different stuff. So we have a couple of these component heat vents left over from our other setup. We have, this should be right here, 11. Yeah, it is 11. We need to have a total of 19 of those, and then we need a total of 26 of these advanced heat vents, which each use a diamond and 2 regular heat vents. So it's a lot of crafting, a lot of moving stuff around in the inventory. I hope you'll bear with me on that. Along with that, the setup is going to use a total of 18 Mox Fuel rods, and it took me a while to let that reactor and my liquid-cooled nuclear reactor get enough plutonium, but luckily I needed the energy anyway to make the diamonds, so it's okay. During that time that I was getting those, I made a lot of reinforced stone, which took a lot more iron to make, but we're going to be using this because we're encasing this thing in case it does, by some very unfortunate stroke of luck, blow up. But yeah, you are going to need, I believe it is 9. Yeah, it's going to be 9 dual fuel rods. That's all we're going to use per setup. So I also have an MFSU to store the power in, because this is a little bit further away than our general energy setup down there. So I do want to have somewhere the power can go. But I do need to start crafting stuff. So to start out, we are going to be making the rest of these component heat vents, which means we need to start out by making the regular heat vents right here. And I don't know why. Oh, I have the 16 because we're making these heat vents, and then we're grabbing this out of here, getting the tin plates, and we're turning all of these into the component heat vents. So I did all the calculations out for today, guys, so I tried to make this whole process as painless as possible, but the fact that I can't just use a crafting table where I can actually have an internal storage for this and keep having these items sucked in there really is a pain in the butt, because crafting these is really rough. So we'll throw these back in here, and what I'm planning on doing is taking 2 trips. The first trip when we form this thing is going to be component heat vents. Next trip is going to be moving in the advanced heat vents, and then we need a 3rd trip actually to finish that up. But now what we need to do is craft. I need to dump a lot of this stuff out of my inventory, and unfortunately this chest is getting relatively full. So is this one. So is this one. So we'll just dump a lot of that stuff in there. I don't even use this chest anymore. All my resources, I haven't touched these resources in forever. I get them and immediately process them. I used all the iron dust that we got over here from last episode, except 31, I guess. And then I got even more uranium from processing more of the fuel. So that's where I got most of my iron from, was pretty much recycled stuff. But the big thing is I need to continue dumping. You know what? We're just going to dump all of this in here. It's such a mess in here. Okay, so there we go. We got all that in there. I'm trying to open up as much space as possible, because when you make these, they take up a ton of room, because we have a ton of these that need to be made. So we're going to start with this, and I think we're going to end up dropping these on the floor, honestly. So making a ton of these heat vents, and it's really awkward with the stacks. It's 52, so make a lot, go like this, make even more, and then I'm literally just going to drop these on the floor, and then we're going to start crafting, and they're going to get sucked into our inventory. And I really hope I do this fast enough so they don't despawn. Obviously that's 5 minutes, and if I spend more than 5 minutes crafting these, then I really don't deserve to be making a video on this anyway, but you guys might have noticed I already crafted some of the stuff that we need for today that I've crafted a ton on camera, like, you know, MFSU, nuclear reactor. I've crafted so many of those. If you guys have watched all my nuclear reactor episodes, this will be the third one I'm crafting right now. So next thing is we can drop a, oh wait, this is, okay, so we got to put these in our inventory first, and then we're going to swap these out, and then we should be able to just keep dragging them in there. Okay, I think that's everything. I think I dropped some iron bars. There, I did. Okay, I dropped some iron bars on the floor too. So get these in there, get all the bars in there, and then we can start just dragging and dropping and dragging and dropping. Oh my gosh. I apologize if you guys can hear my clicking of my mouse. I do have a very clicky mouse. I don't know if any mice aren't clicky. I have a Razer Naga Epic because I used to play World of Warcraft a lot. So, you know, you got to have those 12 macroable buttons on the side, but it's really clicky, and I can do stuff with my keyboard. As you guys can probably tell, if I hit keys, it's a chiclet keyboard. It's a Razer Black Widow, I think. Maybe that's my current one. I don't know. I think it's a Black Widow, but it's a chiclet keyboard. I can switch between keyboards for that to make it quieter, but I can't do anything about my mouse, unfortunately. So I do apologize if when I'm crafting it gets annoying. One thing I don't know if you guys have watched Non-Sanity's videos. He is a great modded Minecraft player, but he uses trackpad for everything, and I don't know how he does it, but you can hear it in his videos. And I was always curious. Then one day I was like, do you use a trackpad for your videos? And he's like, yeah, I play Minecraft with a trackpad. And I was like, oh my gosh, how do you do it? So, okay, so we got all these. So what I might do is I might start out with these advanced heat vents because they're all in my inventory, and then we'll switch over. So I think we can just drop off this fluid ejector upgrade. We don't need it. Is there any room up there? No, there isn't. These are all just miscellaneous things. Unfortunate. Okay, well, it looks like the fluid... Oh my gosh, I'm all out of space everywhere. The fluid ejector upgrade will have to sit in here along with the copper cable. And we'll take these downstairs and let us go. Okay, so we're done with crafting. Now we get into the fun part. So, I always say I'm going to timestamp this part of the video, but probably not going to. I should have slept because it's nighttime out, and nothing is out here right now. That is very peculiar. Nothing is spawning there. I don't see anything on the map either. And we're on hard, which is odd. But, okay, so this area right here might seem very large. That is because if you want to protect your base from a nuclear reactor explosion, you need to be in a you need to have the nuclear reactor encased by a 3 meter thick wall of reinforced stone and or glass. So that's why I had all that reinforced stone up there. And pretty much we're going to have this reactor. It's going to have a little bit of airspace around it. And then it's just going to be 3 thick walls on the top, all the sides, and then the bottom is going to be 1. And the reason behind that is because that means that it'll blow out the bottom if it does blow up, but nothing's down there, so it's perfectly fine. Honestly, that'd be actually kind of nice because then I could make a room down there. But I want to protect all my other machinery from it. So what we're going to do is replace the stone blocks here with all the stuff that we got. So we got the nuclear reactor that can go in there, break all of these, and this pick's about to die, so hopefully it can last us for the episode. Then I get to switch to the mining laser and or a drill, which I actually do have, so let it be known. Man, I feel like I'm going to build up here, and then I'm not, okay, is this going to break it? No, it didn't. Okay. So what we can do is start making this pattern. Now, I did not come up with this reactor setup. I tweaked a couple other ones, worked on my own and all that, but this one is not my own. This one is, I believe it's referred to as having like a butterfly setup, and you guys will understand why in a second, but it's pretty much just going to be symmetrical on both sides for the most part, and you're going to be setting up these, essentially the rods are going to go right here and here in these 2 spaces, and then it's going to do the same thing on the bottom, and they're going to be surrounded by all these advanced heat vents that essentially have both helped suck up heat and diamonds from, you know, my world. But then you have this odd one right here, which kind of like goes up and then back down. And again, it's going to be symmetrical for the most part on this side at least. And then we do the same thing on the top. And you might be able to see why it's kind of called the butterfly setup. It's not perfectly like a butterfly, but it's pretty similar. And then this one does not go up. It's not like that. It just sits right there. So that is the setup right there. Yeah, it does look like a butterfly. I guess that makes sense now. So then we can go back upstairs, grab the rest of the stuff, and it just occurred to me that we actually didn't finish crafting altogether. We do need to finish crafting the Mox Fuel rods. We need to make them dual. So we still have our hazmat suit on, which is great. We're just keeping that thing on. So we can throw these in here. You just need the iron plates to make them dual. And there we go, dual fuel rods. Do not do this with quad fuel rods. I repeat, disclaimer, warning, do not do it with quad fuel rods, okay? Just don't. Please do not. Okay, so now we can go back downstairs. Now, the reason I did not want to craft the reinforced stone on camera is A, because we have a ton of it, and B, if you guys recall, it takes a ton to actually break it. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to do that on camera, but if you guys... I did craft it previously, but it's essentially scaffolding, and then you have the CF sprayer, and you spray foam on it, and you can put sand on it, which will make it harden faster, or you can just leave it, and it'll harden over time. So, we're going to do one layer on the floor first. So, place this on the floor, and I really don't want to screw up when I place it, so I kind of got to be careful. Once we get the layer on the floor, I think I will go and finish the reactor, and then I won't start it up yet, but I think I'll hop off camera probably, or maybe do some talking, and then we can finish, or we can turn it on, because the startup process for it is a little complicated. Now, if you guys were curious as to why I was making a video on this topic, you know, with a non-original reactor setup, it's A, because I want to have one in my base, and B, because I wanted to inform you guys as to how to use it, because it is a little worrisome to some people, because you can blow up your base quite easily with this. The reactor explosion is quite devastating, even with one layer of this around it. It would make a big hole in the floor, but I guess we can finish the reactor setup now, so you guys know if you want to leave and don't want to listen to me ramble while I put down the rest of the walls, you don't have to, but essentially we're just going to fill in most of these spaces with component heat vents and leave, obviously, the 2x1s in here open and this one spot right in the middle open. And essentially, the way we are going to start this up, just a brief overview while I'm doing this, is going to be we put in these fuel rods and we take some of these components away from them and we allow the internal heat to go up. And essentially, we can just remove these heat vents and leave the component heat vents in there, because the component heat vents don't have a durability. Those are never going to melt down. But the advanced heat vents will if we don't have enough in there. So we remove all the ones in like this corner. We put them in, let it get to like 75%, 70-ish%. That does make it dangerous for you around this thing, so keep your that'll start producing radiation. If there's flammable blocks, those will light on fire. If there's blocks that aren't this reinforced stone, at like 85%, they turn to lava, and then eventually at 100 it blows up. Lower at 50%, I think it'll start evaporating any water or anything that's close to it in like a 5x5 radius. So just things to be cautious about when you're working on this. So now what we're gonna do is start. I guess we can start from kind of like the inside out. So we're going to make the wall. The first wall is going to be right here, and this is a primary layer of resistance. Now I am basing this off the wiki and what I knew previously. So you know what, I probably didn't want to put a block there. Let's see how long it takes to break this block right here. It's going to take a while, but we're going to break this one block and then we're not going to screw this up anymore, because unfortunately, if I move too far over one block closer to the wall on this side, I would have run into a water stream, so I had to move it one block this way, and that kind of messed with it. So we're going to have it like this, and we can keep building around it. And this requires a lot of stuff. I actually might not have enough of this. I don't think I will have enough of this. So, you know what? I probably should just go off camera, finish setting this up, because I don't really have much to talk about right now. So we're going to do that, and then I will be back. Okay, guys, so we are back. And that took forever. That just took me actually a couple hours to create all of that. And I ended up using a drill that I had upgraded from when I had made the miner, which made it a lot easier. And I saved the pick for the random use that we might have if we ever need to break, a regular piece of stone or something that doesn't take an hour to break with it. But I did not have nearly enough. I completed the first 2 layers, and then the third layer, of course, being significantly bigger, required a lot more, so I had to go and make that. And we're left with a measly 5 reinforced stone. But the last thing we have to do is slap down a reinforced door on here with the lever. I am going to put a light in here just so that we can actually see, but I don't know if it matters where the door is. I also don't know if this door is going to protect like 1 layer or like 3, probably only like 1. So I might need to actually add like a door here and a door here. Now keep in mind, I don't plan on blowing this thing up. I really don't, as much as you guys might think it's, might be fun. That's probably how I'll end the series, blowing something up in here for fun. But I really don't want to blow this up, and I don't think I will. So we're not going to test it, but it might blow like right through here and just rip through this portion of my base, which would kind of suck. So I'm going to put it right here to start, and eventually, hopefully, move it. But we're gonna come in here. We got this nice lever, and we can just put like a pressure plate if we wanted to, but a lever is like cooler, because you got to access it like this. So we now have the dual fuel rods, and what I can do is safely, I'm not even gonna plug this in yet. I have the MFSU that I made, but I'm not gonna plug it in yet because eventually we're gonna get 1K EU per tick, and we're gonna need the fiber cables, the glass fiber cables. So the gold cable's not going to cut it. But the dual fuel rods, if we were to throw them in here, will work fine when we turn it on. So we'll throw them in there and we'll flip it on. So throw the lever there, flip it on, and you can see it's 260 EU per tick. So that's what we're starting out at here. And it's running fine. Core temperature staying low. None of the stuff is having an issue. That's all good. That's really weak for a nuclear reactor, though. You might notice that. So what we're going to do, and I'm going to break this lever out and put it somewhere else. This is so stressful for me because this could be very, very bad. Okay. So what we do is we take these fuel rods out, and they're not going to stack anymore because they're screwed up. But what we're going to do is let's take these advanced heat vents out right here, all around this area right here. And I don't know why I'm placing them like they were in there, but I'm going to. And I think that should be enough all around it. We're going to take this component heat vent out too, and we're going to I guess we can put 2 of them in there and see how it starts. I usually use 4 when I was testing it, but if we flip this on, you can see the core temp starts going up. And I guess I can throw another one in there. We want to make sure none of these are taking damage. If we were to throw another one in there, it would start going up a lot faster. And you can see the EU per tick is going up as the core temp goes up. It's starting to smoke. We got some smoke coming off of it. Worrisome, but doable. Okay, so we're reaching a point where it's going to start evaporating stuff around it. You can see we've already surpassed the previous one. We're now at 49%, 50%. Stuff would start evaporating. 56, 57, 59, 61. So we're going to take that out. 62, very slowly going up. 64, 66, 67, 69. Okay, so we're starting to take damage, so we're going to turn it off. Okay, so we're not actually taking that much damage, but it is hurting. So what we need to do is access it from out here, and it is at 71%. I'm going to flip it on for another split second. Want to get it to 75. Flip it off. Okay, we're at 75. So now what we can do is take these out. It's going to sit at 75. We're going to back out a little bit. This is still hurting me. We're going to put all these back in. And we're going to make sure they're all in there. We're going to get the component heat vent back in there. We're going to throw the rest of this dual fuel rods back in there. It's sitting at 75% still. Still all good. And then we can flip it back on. It's going to still be hurting us. Flip it back on. It's staying at 75% and it is generating 1,049 EU per tick. That is awesome. So that is how you start it up. It will sit safely at 75%. Safely being in air quotes, because if you were to screw up one thing, this whole thing could have a meltdown. Don't accidentally take one of these out because it'll start slowly burning through the rest of them. Each part of this is crucial. It'll burn through the rest of them and then it'll blow up. So always remember when you're leaving it to close the door and be very safe with it. Just, to make sure your base doesn't get ruined. But that is it. That's how you start it up. You can, turn it off and start it up as much as you want. It'll maintain the core temp safely at what it is. It'll sit at 75%. So all you got to do is to start up and leave it running. I'm probably going to turn this off for now because I haven't hooked it up to the power yet. So I'm wasting expensive fuel on this for getting no power. But, that is how you start it up. That's how it runs. Now, if you guys have any questions, feel free to post those in the comments, as I will do my best to answer them, because I know that this might be a little bit complicated for you guys and you might be a little hesitant because it could be dangerous for your base. I do advise trying it out in creative first, But yeah, if you guys found the video informative or entertaining in any way, feel free to give it a like, as it does help me out a lot. Like I said, feel free to post any questions in the comments, and I will talk to you guys later.